Welcome back to week 4, the official BetSafe preview. Week 4 for some, the last for some, not for everyone. Today we're joined by 3 times British and Irish Lion top try scorer Shane Williams. Hey Shane, how you doing? How was your weekend?
Eventful, busy. I was at the game, so
not really a weekend.
Less said about that the better, really. No, it was a good weekend. Good weekend of sport. Good weekend of rugby. I'm recovering now.
Yeah. Well, let's start with Wales then. How do you think they got on?
Well,
the score was 33-30. Sam Davies obviously kicked the final win.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, really. I think we take the win certainly against a Japan side that enjoy having ball in hand, enjoy moving the ball around the park, and made Wales look very average at times. But it wasn't the best of performances by Wales. They went into the game with the mindset that they were going to move Japan around the field with wide play, with tempo and intensity. They started like that, but it just didn't work. And the problem was, when it didn't work, they didn't change the way they played. So a bit disappointing. However, they did win the game. Sam
win
Davies,
is a win.
Yeah, win is a win, I suppose. But Sam Davies come on and did the business. Should have been starting anyway, as far as I'm concerned. Keelan Giles didn't even get on the field, which I'm quite disappointed with. But they won the game. But in fairness to Japan, they played really well.
So what do you think they've got to do differently? They've got Springboks this weekend. South Africa haven't had a good run. They've been mulled a little bit in the press. So they're not feeling probably quite as confident. Wales, they did win, so a little bit of confidence there. What have they got to do differently?
I think they've just got to box a bit clever. It's going to be an arm wrestle up front. There's some big South African boys coming to Cardiff. Wales are a big pack as well. So I think they need to win that arm wrestle first and foremost. Get over the game line and then play a bit of rugby. On Saturday, they just tried moving the ball around. Almost every instant they had the ball. It didn't work. And when it didn't work, they didn't resort to just to play in a tight game, trying to get over the game line, manipulate the Japan defence, and then perhaps trying to create stuff. So I think it's just been a bit more clever. South Africa are a wounded animal at the moment. Lost to Italy. No one saw that coming.
That's a huge win for Italy.
It's a huge win for Italy, and it's a huge loss to South Africa as well. They're not in a good place at the moment. However, they're still a very good team. Some great players still in that team. Still some experience, and Wales are going to have to, really pick up their performance.
And who do you think the key players are in Wales for this weekend? Do they bring George North back and put him on the wing?
I think realistically, George North is going to come back in. He's a big game player. His first cap was against South Africa, scored 2 tries. So he knows how to play against these guys. Lee Halfpenny, I thought had a good game on the wing on the weekend. I'm glad he was playing there because he has so much more freedom. And like I said on Saturday, I'd like to have seen him score, but he didn't. He played much better on the wing than he has been at 15. It'd be interesting to see who comes back into the team as well. I think Gareth Davies will probably come in at scrum half. He's good odds to score a try. He knows the way to the try line, snipes around the breakdowns, and South Africa have been very poor at defending that of late. So there's a lot of key players to come back. However, it would have been nice to have experimented with a few more players against Japan and then have that opportunity to play them against South Africa.
And South Africa are struggling with players at the moment. Are there any key players there we should pick up on?
Well, we've still got Mr. Bryan Habana hanging about. One of the best players I've played against. He certainly still knows the way to the try line. Scored on the weekend, despite the fact they lost. So with players like that in the team, they are capable of creating things. He's been such a pain in the backside for Wales over the years that he's definitely one to look out for.
And if you had to call it, who might win this weekend? Which way would it go?
Well, I can't see Wales playing as poorly as they did against Japan. We said that against Australia, mind, and I think it was an even worse performance against Japan. I'm hoping they learn from the experience. I hope they learn from the performance on the weekend. And I do see Wales winning the game. It's at home. They haven't become a bad side overnight. There's still some great individuals in that team. And South Africa are probably in an even worse place than the Welsh team at the moment, having lost these games. So I'm going to go for a Wales win. It's going to be very tight, I think. It is going to be very tight, but I'm going to go for Wales.
Let's move over to England. England they've had an amazing series, really, haven't they? Eddie really knows what he's doing. They've got Argentina. Will that just be a run over? We haven't seen a strong side from Argentina, I don't feel yet. What do you think?
Argentina are one of those sides that you don't ever write them off. They've got some great players, great forwards, and some really exciting players behind the back there, Sanchez, Cordero. But I think England are just flying high at the moment. You know, to score, I think it was 12 tries or whatever against Fiji, and then Eddie Jones still not happy about the result and the outcome. Just goes to show what he expects from this team. Yeah, I see England winning it quite comfortably. However, Argentina are still a very good side. You know, they nearly beat the Scots on the weekend. That was a good game. Enjoyed that one. But England just you know, hit that purple patch at the moment. So almost like an unstoppable train.
Potential try scorers for England? Anyone?
It really
Are
depends
they
who's playing. They are that good at the moment. You know, they've got the ability to play with width. They've got the ability to pick and go, and certainly the strength around the breakdowns there. Young's a player that was absolutely on fire against South Africa. He's always a sure thing. Ford's been playing well, likes of well, I don't know, whoever comes back in, May has hit forms well when he's come back. They really could be. I mean, Dylan Hartley scored on the weekend. He doesn't score many tries, so they're showing that they can score tries, and I think it's a mixed bag. Anyone could score on the weekend. And I think, you know, England have the potential to put a lot of points against Argentina as well. So it's a mixed bag.
Yeah, I think it'd be probably a bit tighter than the Fiji game.
It will be tighter than the Fiji game. I think Argentina are a better side than Fiji. They're far more organised. You know, and they've taken some big scalps. They're playing in the championship against the best teams in the world. They've learned from that experience. However, it has been a tough tour for them. They're still a very good side. So I do see England winning quite comfortably, but it probably, you know, not the scoreline we saw against Fiji.
And that will end their series then on a high if they were to get that too.
I think so.
Ahead of Six Nations, they'd be.
Unfortunately, they're flying high at the moment. Yeah, the problem is, you know, being a Welshman, that England are flying high, probably, you know, up there with New Zealand as the best team in the world at the moment. Ireland are really playing very well, and Schmidt has got them performing like he wants them to perform collectively. And we're very lucky against New Zealand, may I add. Scotland are getting better. You know, they probably should have beaten Australia. Same old story. You know, snatched it away from Argentina on the weekend, but they fought hard for it. So, you know, those three teams now have really seem to be progressing. Unfortunately, Wales have taken a bit of a backward step. So it's going to be an interesting Six Nations.
And Scotland are playing Georgia this weekend. We've only seen obviously one game from Georgia. Never to write them off still. Scotland coming closer and closer each time. They've now got a win under their belt, so they'll be feeling confident. Yeah,
I think it's a perfect game for Scotland. Like I say, should have beaten Australia, beaten a good Argentinian side, and they'll be confident. You can see what the win meant to them. You know, they worked hard for that. They're going to have to work hard against Georgia. They're a big physical outfit, and sometimes, you know, if you get into an arm wrestle with these boys, you come second best. But I think Scotland are a bit more clever. They've got a bit more guile about them in this day and age. Far better backs than the Georgians. So I see Scotland winning that. Not too comfortably, but I think it'll be, you know, 2 or 3 try point score win there for them.
Any key players in particular we should watch out for?
I think Jones in the middle is playing exceptionally well. Hit some great form. Stuart Hogg, I keep going on about him. I think he's a fantastic player. The Gray brothers, you know, they have got some really good players in the squad at the moment, and I think you know what it is. They're players that are really good, but are playing with confidence. And with beating Argentina, who are a good side after all, will give them more confidence moving on.
And Ireland, then they've got Australia now. I know the defeat to the All Blacks. What did you think of that performance?
Well, I thought Ireland played really well. Unlucky at times, you know, a couple of referee decisions went against them. But that happens against the All Blacks. They play with such intensity and such speed. Sometimes things are overlooked and missed. But that's, you know, that's no. I'm not taking nothing away from the All Blacks. They're still a fantastic side and beat a very good Irish side in Dublin.
Australia have obviously been nipping these games each time by just a few points. Were they likely to do that to Ireland?
I don't think so. I think Ireland would be too strong and too clever for Australia. You know, far too much experience in the Irish side to let a game slip away, as did Scotland and France. You know, Kuridrani twice now saved Australia's bacon and saved the day, and that was my try scorer. So I didn't quite see him scoring late as that, but he did get on the score sheet, thank God, for the Australians anyway. But yeah, I don't see the Australians going to Ireland and beating Ireland. I think they were fantastic in Chicago. They were really good on the weekend against a very good New Zealand team, and were unlucky perhaps the scoreline doesn't reflect that, but I thought New Zealand played really well, but were put under massive pressure by Ireland. So I think Australia's luck's run out. I think against Ireland, the endeavour will be there. They'll probably score tries because they're capable of doing that. Kudrani and these players in the team anyway. But I see Ireland being far too strong for them.
And in France, the All Blacks go over to France. France had a good game. Not quite,
Yeah.
but it's a tight game, wasn't it?
Well, France have done really well. I think they've scored a lot of tries, which you expect the old French flair to do. There are players in that side, Fofana, and the whole backline with Huguet and these guys that are really dangerous. They're scoring tries for fun, but they're conceding tries as well. And one thing New Zealand are very good at doing is scoring tries and points. So in friendly matches, I don't know, New Zealand seem to play really well against France. The pressure's off. They could play the style of rugby that suits them, and they usually score a lot of points against France as well. So French unlucky against Australia, but I think the All Blacks will be too strong for them on the weekend.
And if you had to predict the score, how many tries sort of each way? High scoring?
High scoring. I think France are certainly more than capable of scoring 2 tries in this game. And the problem is New Zealand are capable of scoring far more than that. I think it'll be about 40 points to 23, something like that. I think it'll be high scoring, but I see New Zealand scoring a lot of points, a lot of tries, and coming away with a victory.
And we've also got another game, which is Japan take on Fiji. Japan are doing ever so well. I know we don't like to talk about it. Fiji have had a tough game against England. They're going to be hurting. Where do you see that game go?
Well, Fiji gets stronger the more they play together, because that's the style of rugby they play. They throw the ball around, they throw it in the air and expect someone to catch it. But the more they play, the more comfortable they'll be with each other, and the more points they'll score. Japan, I thought, ball in hand on Saturday was superb. Really exciting. Enjoyed watching them play.
There must be obviously a bit of excitement for you.
I was watching like that because it was against the Welsh, and they certainly proved that they could score tries. This could be a cracker. This could be a massive point-scoring game. I think the Fijians are more than capable of scoring a lot of tries. However, I think Japan are just a bit more organised than Fiji. When they get ball and when they get control of the game, they're very dangerous. They get in key areas, and they keep the ball far more controlled and better than Fiji. And so I see this being it's probably the game of the weekend, to be fair, because who knows what's going to happen. It really is that close. But I see Japan just sneaking this one. But it could be a massive game, and it could be a lot of tries scored.
Yeah, and key players for Japan, who should we look out for?
A lot of key players on Saturday. Yamada is the winger, the right winger, scored the interception against Wales. I played against him out in Japan.
Just a bit of loose ball. They take advantage of that.
A loose ball, and against Fiji there'll be a lot of that. There'll be a lot of turnovers, a lot of missed passes and balls hitting the ground, and that's what Japan come into their own really. Yamada's a good player. You can feed off that. Mafi, the number 8 for Japan at the moment, was superb again on the weekend. A great player, world-class player, playing in a side that enjoyed playing rugby. So there's 2 players now that are more than capable of scoring tries and points, and like I say, it could be a cracker.
And for Fiji, anyone in particular we should be looking out for?
Well, there's one player that I've been watching all season. Perhaps didn't have the best of games against England. Matt Devesi, who's been playing for the Ospreys. The reason I'm picking him, perhaps he hasn't been playing particularly well for Fiji, but for the Ospreys he's been in fine form, and I think he's due a big game for the Fijians. He certainly scored enough points and tries for the Ospreys.
So he's a player. Go at 10 as well.
Yeah, he went at 10. He threw a big interception pass, which would have dented his confidence a bit, but being Fijian, he dusted himself off and carried on playing in the typical Fijian style. So I'm expecting a big game from him. It's a game that'll suit him. It'll be nice and open. He's very strong. He's got good feet. And like I say, for the Ospreys, he knows his way to the try line. So there could be a lot of tries, and I think this could be a cracking game for the neutral fan to go and watch.
Well, thank you, Shane.
Thank you.
That's our 4th, nearly final, one before the end. We have got one more game, but it is the end for some.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on BetSafe's official preview, week 4, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.